Dear girl, I finally got settled here. The flight was long, but the thought of you reading this letter kept me going. I can't believe we start college soon. Isn't that crazy? It wasn't too long ago that we met as 15-year-olds who didn't know any better. And it's even crazier to think we didn't like each other at first. Now here we are, dating, going on over a year. Each day that has passed has been ethereal, as each time I'm reminded of you. I'm reminded of all the things that are serene. Though I'm afraid of what's to come, your love will comfort me. Well, I'll keep this one short. I'm eager to read your letter, and I hope that time is soon. I hope the move-in for you went as well as it went for me. With love, boy.
Dear boy, your letter is a remedy for such a bad week. Sorry for being late. I know this letter thing was my idea anyway. I thought it'd be cute to do this, even if we still text every chance we get. There's nothing quite like putting your pen to paper and just letting the words flow through you. I know I rambled too much even without the pen, and I'm sorry. Even though we're across the country, when I read your words in your handwriting, it feels like you're here with me. And suddenly, this new state doesn't feel so scary. Though this is a fork in the road, I know our roads will eventually lead back to each other. I hope you're well. I can't wait for your next letter. Hopefully, it catches me in a better state of mind with even more love. Girl.
Dear girl, 1 month of being away down. I remember the times we could see each other whenever we wanted to. I remember the walks in Herman Park and sitting by the fountain or walking through the tunnels at the museum. Though the color in that tunnel fades, no illusion can mask your radiance. I know, I'm corny. I've been watching too many movies lately. Film school is a lot different than I thought it'd be. Why do I have to read as a film major? That's exactly why I changed majors in the first place. It's a bit ridiculous, but when I make the time to read, it's almost always interesting. How are you, though? How are your philosophy classes? What era of philosophy are you studying right now? I think it's so awesome that you're in philosophy and I'm in film. They're very similar, really. The philosophy of philosophers is spoken in written word, and the philosophy of the ones in cinema is that which is seen and that which is heard. To be a great philosopher, you have to have great eyes and even better ears. I think the same rings true to be a great filmmaker. I'm eager to read your new letter. I hope this one reaches you fast, and I hope yours gets delivered even faster. Also, you're right. Reading things in your handwriting is better. Love, boy.
Dear boy, don't worry about your corniness. It's one of my favorite things about you. If you stop now, especially in these letters, I don't know how I'd react, but I know it wouldn't be good. Thanks for asking about school. Right now, we're discussing Hegel, which is interesting given your synthesis of philosophy and cinema. I find it interesting to think of the two as similar, but I feel like a fool to not have thought of them as synonymous with one another before you brought it up. Hegel has a theory that I've been obsessed with since I read it. His dialectic, as we call it. I can't believe I'm about to write this with my hands after I had an essay, but here goes nothing. If we were to put cinema and philosophy into the dialectic, it would probably be similar to this. Thesis: Old Hollywood. A. The films here lay the foundation for the cinema we know nowadays. B. These films are character and narrative driven, and the devices of the cinema showcase those motivations in the character and narrative. Antithesis: the French New Wave. A. This era is the rejection of this filmmaking, as the name antithesis suggests. B. It departs from a strong narrative, while not taking away from narrative weight, in my opinion, and focuses on the aesthetic of cinema. It takes those foundations in old Hollywood and turns them on its head, either by doing them differently or by doing them the exact opposite. Synthesis: New Hollywood. A. The antithesis of the French New Wave leaks into America, and the once strong studio control gets loosened a bit to capture the audiences infatuated with the French New Wave. B. Young directors thrive and adopt principles from both eras while adding new ideas. The dialectic isn't supposed to be an absolute thing, but it's a fun exercise. You may have just read this theory and are probably already scheming up ways to prove me wrong. But how are you, though? Are you well? What films have you been watching during school? What books have you been reading? I remember in high school when I'd read the books and you'd take all the notes for me. I miss those days. Love, girl.
Dear girl, wow, I thought I was the one getting the film degree, and you're developing something far more advanced than even I could do. I find your theory interesting, and I agree with most of it. Let me fill in some holes in your argument, though, mainly in your second and third points. 2. The French New Wave. Saying the movement is more concerned about feeling and narrative definitely shortchanges the movement as a whole. Romer is a good example of this, as he strived to translate literature to the screen. His stories and narratives are timeless because of this, showcasing how even a simple narrative with complex characters can tell an enthralling story. Though the feelings and mood matter, what really matters is the story and the narrative the writer uses to illustrate those feelings and moods. 3. New Hollywood. I think your argument here is opaque, for lack of a better term. I'm not saying it's a reach, but I don't think that synthesis really makes any sense. A lot of those filmmakers you listed were more inspired by the neo-realists than the people and the new wave anyway. So I'm struggling to see really anything at all that correlates your connection between the two movements. I don't know if it's just because I'm studying them and the magic is wearing off, but this film seems to be getting more and more dull. I sit there and I just point out their faults, never talking about their strengths. There used to be a time where I would watch a film and take it for how it is. Now, I just watch films for the sake of it, or because they're assigned to me. I used to think they were perfect films, but just like people, there are always faults, even when they're hidden. The other day, I saw someone that wore their hair up the same way you do, and I felt weak. That same woman I walked past the other day had your perfume on, and each time I pass her, I feel like I become weaker each and every time. I thought I could do the distance, but this constant yearning and constant dwelling is becoming very heavy and very difficult. With love, boy.
Dear boy, I'm not quite sure how to take your letter. I'd have preferred to talk about the second half maybe on the phone, but you waited to write this in a letter and act like nothing's wrong while it's in the mail. And then in the first half, you disregard all the good in my theory and immediately shoot it down. I thought we had a conversation about constructive criticism, and I think even your criticisms are vague and half truths. Just because a film values atmosphere and feeling over narrative does not mean that it cannot be narrative driven. You bring up Romer, one of my favorites. He's absolutely narrative driven, yes, but the atmosphere and mood his films create are undeniable. Take Love in the Afternoon. Yes, the narrative is driven by voiceovers and splendidly written dialogue. However, the ending scene with Frederick and Chloe about to consummate their affair bring back such tiny detail from the middle of the film with such haunting and cathartic implications. Without the use of words, only through the use of an atmosphere that is so powerful that it creates its own nostalgia, do we feel this life altering reflection as Frederick stands there looking at himself. Moreover, looking at the thing that was right in front of him the entire time. Not a single word is spoken here, despite Romer being dialogue heavy, which I don't argue against. However, he is my favorite French New Wave artist exactly because he's able to do both facets of cinema incredibly well. To say one matters more than the other, or to say that you can only have one and not the other, simply showcases, for a lack of a better term, your ignorance when it comes to cinema. Maybe this is why you feel what you feel in the last paragraph of your letter. Though you've upset me by saying the distance is affecting you and your disregard for my feelings, I still care about you. Love you very much. It makes me sad to think that you're losing some of your passion for film. But I like to think our taste in films changes just like our taste in music does. Maybe this is your mind aching for something new. Try a new film. Cinema has a weird way of sneaking up on you. I don't think I'll be texting you much at all for a few days. I need some time to think. Sincerely, girl.
Dear girl, I just received your letter. Is that why you haven't been talking to me this week? It's been driving me insane. The silence. I'm so sorry about the way I handled the criticism. I should have gone about it differently, and reading this letter, the feelings of anxiety of this week finally have a reason. I do believe your theory is strong, and I admire you. Most importantly, you've always had issues with people critiquing you, and I should have known that going in. I was hoping your philosophy classes have maybe changed that insecurity, but it appears I'm wrong. I want to have more patience for this situation, and I know I say that constantly, but I really want to try. I've always talked before I gave it any thought, and words are the greatest, most cruel weapon of them all, just to throw out without thinking. I want to be better for you, and I swear I will be going forward. I'll take your advice, and I'll go to a random film screening around here. I want to ignite the passion that resides so deep within me, but I fear that they're being reduced to embers. I look around me I see all these talented artists and filmmakers, true, well developed filmmakers that understand the technology, understand the ins and outs of the industry. Oftentimes, I find myself sulking off to the side, not talking in class, worrying that what I say won't be up in their standard. I know you say that I shouldn't care about that, and I try not to, but I've always been my own worst enemy. I feel like I'm losing my confidence, and with my confidence, my will to even exist seems small and absolutely futile. At first, I used to distract myself with films, watching them so I could stop thinking about what's been bothering me. That still works, but now it's when the lights fade and the screens are off, when these thoughts have no way to be ignored. As I lie there, being eaten by the thoughts within. Please call me when you get this letter. I miss your voice. Or even text me. I miss the way your words look on my screen. Anything will be fine as long as you talk to me. Sincerely, boy.
Dear boy, I just received your letter. Forget the stupid theory. What you said worries me. Your passion is what always drew me to you, and to hear you say it's fading is really painful. I wish I could say more, but I'm having trouble finding the right words. I think this is a greater issue. For some reason, something that used to be so effortless is so painful lately, and that's finding the right words to talk to you. I stare at the screen when we're texting, sometimes wondering why we're even still talking. It's like we're running in a circle, and the circle is slowly getting smaller and smaller. Eventually, we'll have nowhere else to run, and we'll be stuck together with this infuriating tension that has been so prevalent with us lately. You told me once that you relied on my reassurance to keep you going. That used to make me so happy for some reason. I guess that reliance you had on me. It made me feel good, like what we had was a shared thing. Anytime you succeeded, it felt great to see you thriving. And then after you celebrated, it was just us. It may sound selfish, but I looked forward to that the most. Please don't lose that passion, I beg of you. While it looks dim right now, I believe in you, even if you don't believe in yourself. Love, girl.
Dear girl, thank you for the letter and words of encouragement. It means the world to me. I understand what you're saying in the beginning, as I've been feeling it too. We haven't been texting much lately, but I've been obsessively looking back at our texts, and I see a pattern. We ask the same question and give the same answers lately. Our conversations are dry, and I fear that it's just the first step to the inevitable. I've been looking around lately and seeing all these people together, happy. I remember when people would do that with us, only being able to dream and wish for what we had. I find myself being more and more restrained lately. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Maybe. Actually, probably. That has something to do with you. I assigned a lot of my image into you to the point of only being able to see the good parts of me through you. I fear that I'm losing sight of what the good is the longer I don't see you. Seeing you through a screen and through my memories is too painful. I do want to keep trying this because I think, while it has been painful, the result of this distance and this waiting will lead to a cathartic result when we do see each other again. When I have a taste of your lips, a smell of your fragrance, and a sight of your eyes, it will all make sense again and this pain will fade. Love, boy.
Dear boy, I'm sorry, but I think we are just going in different places. I think we want different things out of this relationship. Your obsession with the physicality of it all is really unnerving. I want you to see me, but without eyes. I want you to hear me, but without ears. I want you to feel me, but without touch. I don't think we know how to talk to each other anymore. Talking to you lately is just a battle between having no idea what to say and the realization that there is nothing to say anymore. It's like we're talking to versions of each other in our heads and expecting entirely different reactions than from who we are now. Once you get this letter, please don't respond. I just want to live in silence for a while. Goodbye, girl.
Dear girl, my therapist says that maybe I should write this, but not send it, in a way to add closure to this situation. I'd have the words I want to say written down so it ensures I'll never tell you if we ever see each other again. If I get them out now, maybe I can save myself the embarrassment if or when that ever happens. It's been over a year now, and I'm doing a lot better. I'm not ready to see someone new yet, but I think it's okay. I'm young, and I still have a lot I want to figure out about myself. I think of you less and less, but that doesn't mean I love you less. Even though it ended, your touch on me is one for a lifetime. I know that for sure. Incessantly, memories play in my head, to the point on if I wonder if I can even trust them anymore. Is it possible for memories to play so much in your head for them to lose legitimacy? Is it possible that we misremember those memories that we used to swear were our very definition? Those core memories that got me through distant nights, those are the ones that are the hardest to shake. When what used to comfort transforms itself into anxiety, that's what's difficult. When memories play tricks on you and use your favorite pastimes to haunt you, how does one get over that? They say time heals all. I think the opposite. Because with time, hindsight sets in, and with hindsight, the thoughts of what I should have done differently naturally arise. And when those thoughts set in, I don't feel healed. I feel embarrassed at my past self. I think of myself as an idiot that didn't know any better. Some people say that's a humbling feeling, but I just get upset. Maybe it's my perfectionism and my need to be liked by everyone. I wish I could shake that, and I'm working on it. Maybe some things don't change in us, and life is just a cycle of making the same mistakes over and over again. These are memories that haunt me. They haunt me like ghosts, and they steal all of the possibilities, and like a plague, I am constantly reminded of what could have been, what I should have done differently, and what I threw away. I don't know what else to write. Maybe I'll continue this later, but for now, I really hope that you're doing well. And I hope you have all that you want out there because you deserve it. I wonder if you think of me like I still think of you. I wonder what would happen if we saw each other again one day. Would you smile at me? Or would you walk right past me, looking at the ground like you're ashamed of what we had? Would you stop and talk to me like we didn't lose a step? Or would you just say hi and be polite and keep walking like you're in a rush? With just a look, could you see my change? Or would that change wash away at the very sight of you? I feel like you're the only one that has known me that deeply, and I wonder how much this really matters if all of it is just going to disappear in an instant if I see you again. It's crazy how much power we give people in our lives when we're in love with them. Is that really love? They say love is sacrifice, but is that sacrifice giving away a bit of our power, a bit of our independence? Maybe that's why we didn't work out. I can't speak on what you want anymore because I don't know you anymore, just like you don't know me. Maybe that's what you wanted then, but you don't want that anymore. And maybe that's not what I wanted then, but that's what I want now. Either way is okay because whatever you want is what I want for you, even if I don't mean anything to you anymore. With love and goodbye, boy.
Dear boy, I've thought about it for a while if I wanted to write this to you. It had been so long, and so many things have happened since we knew each other. It's been over a year now, but for some reason after class today, I got this bizarre sensation to write you again. I hadn't thought about you for quite some time, so this feeling is something I wasn't too sure about. Now that I'm sitting down and writing this letter, I keep thinking about what happened. It's playing in my mind like clockwork as I write this, wondering where it all went wrong. You were right when you said I was insecure about criticism. I've struggled with that my whole life, but you knew that. You don't need to remind me of my faults. I'm well aware of them. I couldn't imagine being faultless or without mistakes. But even then, that's not why we ended. It had nothing to do with my fear of criticism or your fear of imperfection. It had nothing to do with the fact that we couldn't talk to each other anymore. It had nothing to do with the fact that we just fell out of love. Relationships and love have no one reason for their end. We ride this line that guides us to where we need to go. And within that line, an array of hypocrisy, imperfections, and pure idiocy make up the rails as we ride them towards our destinations. If they didn't, we'd all be riding the same train on the same rails, never intersecting with anyone or anything that mattered. And there wouldn't be any peaks or valleys that humbled us along the way. To speak frankly, I am in a bit of a valley. It's not that I'm unhappy, I guess I'm just a bit indifferent these days. I do what I normally do, hang out with the people I normally hang out with, but really there's nothing new I do aside from the books I read and the films I watch. Quite constantly I wander around and get surprised when people say how happy I seem. And I wonder then if I could trade eyes with them. Would I see what they see? Would I see that happy, content girl that people always say they see? Or would my faults be apparent because I could sense what I always feel is evident? The need to scream, but the little strength I have to do so. And I want you to know that you have left your mark on me. I see you every now and then. Sometimes someone with your car passes mine in an intersection, and I check to see if you're the one driving, even though I know you're thousands of miles away. You said that to me in one of your letters, and ever since you did, I can't help but notice it too. You're right when you say that having your smell breeze past is crippling. It's like you're there for the briefest moment, only to go away as quickly as you came. I relish the memories of those days when we were so close, or more so the days when I knew myself. I don't like myself that much these days, or like I said, I guess I'm just a bit indifferent. But even though I don't like myself right now, I know things will get better. I know that one day I'll wake up, look in the mirror, and smile. I'm not sure how long it'll take, but I just know that one day I'll be able to sit and take it all in without a second thought that corrupts each moment. But for now, that catharsis will have to wait. Only time will heal me as I wait for my new self to unlock. And the thoughts of such transformation will comfort me in these cloudy days. But soon, the clouds will mend. And I will be able to sit down, stare out at the horizon. And breathe with love. Go.